I know they have work to do. So we'll call the meeting to order. My God, can't you enlarge that?
I don't have control over that screen.
After you call the meeting to order, I can't even read that. I don't know what the next thing it says. And I didn't make copies. We didn't make copies of the agenda. Okay, all right. So now we just need to go on down. Approval of minutes. Okay, we do not have any minutes because our October meeting, we canceled because we did not have a quorum. And the July meeting, we've never, ever received any minutes from that meeting. So there will be no minutes to be approved of, okay? Now, no, that's a very old agenda. That's not current.
Yeah, it's not even the one.
That's not what we're working on today.
That's not the one we last saw this
That's
morning.
from July 30th.
That was a year ago, yeah. So who has a written, no, none of us have a written copy. Usually I print out a copy, but I just figured Kelly was going to give us copies.
That's not it either.
Yeah, that's the wrong agenda.
Yeah, working on it.
Yeah,
You got it.
yeah.
It's there.
Hi,
I didn't print it out, but I know it's up there.
come up to the table. I don't know why those gentlemen are over there where they are, but I guess it's the way it operates around here. Okay, so we will begin with matters of discussion. Public
Minutes
Works
exist.
update. Huh?
Just so you know, minutes do exist. They just haven't.
They do?
Yeah. If you follow the link on, if you follow this link on the agenda, those minutes exist
From July of,
from July
oh,
2021.
okay, well, that's good to know because I never got a copy of them.
Well, it's been a little while.
Yeah, okay. So we'll begin with an update from Director Stahl and Public Works and Donnie Garter on the caboose.
All right. Well, I'll let Donnie, I won't take his thunder away on the caboose because Donnie really has been working on that situation. And I thought maybe we would talk about some of the other things as far as Public Works is concerned, so that you're kind of aware of where we are and some of the things that we are working on across the board. First of all, I know there was some concern about the houses on Washington Avenue from a historic standpoint. I have to tell you, the town purchased 5 properties. Purchased Mary Beth's parents' home was one of the 5. The Hotchkiss home, which was where the attorney's office was there in the front. Oh my goodness, what was her?
Kendig.
Ruth Kending's house. We purchased that. We purchased the Smo property behind that. And then we purchased the Indian Head Ironworks property from Lou Martin. The idea being that the town was interested in a new library site. And between the town, the county, and the library board, they decided that they would like to have it over there in the business district for the town and hopefully utilize it for revitalization. From the Public Works standpoint, our interest was being able to take Maple, continue it on through and tie it in to Talbot Street, which would be extended up so that they would meet as a team. By acquiring.
I'm really sorry to interrupt, but could I talk you into talking into a microphone so we can get it on the recording?
Sure. I guess I'll have to sit down. So we did that. We purchased all 5 properties. And we kind of agreed with the county about how the roads would be located, and the county began the design for the new library facility. The actual library in and of itself will be located towards the back of the Winkler property. The Talbot Street will go straight across, will go right straight through where the Hotchkiss House is today, go through the Kendig House, will go up through the Southern Maryland oil property, and then Maple will go right through Indian Head Iron Works and will come over and will meet at the intersection of Talbot. So that will be there. The library will then be due north of that intersection and will sit over there. And the idea was that it would overlook a nice, large green space going down to Washington Avenue. To kind of indicate what the town's position is, the town acquired all the properties and have entered into a 99-year lease with the county. The idea, we still are the owner of the property, but we're leasing it to them for $1 a year. So the town's contribution was the land. But at this point, the lease has been signed and is going back to the county. The county will actually develop the library, build the roads, do the whole 9 yards. The rest of it, the town's portion was the contribution of the land.
Can I stop you just a minute?
Sure.
Is the Hotchkiss Kendig property where the street's going through? Is
Correct.
that part of the 99-year lease, so the county will own that?
The county will not own the land, they will own the infrastructure.
Right,
that
they
goes
will
on
have,
there.
okay, so.
Now, we haven't
Isn't
decided
Talbot,
yet.
isn't Talbot a town street?
Talbot is not a town street.
It's a
Talbot
county.
is a county road.
Okay, so
Right.
well, that answers my
Maple is a
question.
town street, and
Yeah,
the intention, I believe, in talking to the county was to leave Maple, even the extension, as a town street, and that Talbot would remain a county street.
okay, that's,
So the
It's the
the
way I-
extension on Talbot will be done by the county then.
Both of them will be done by the county. Everything's gonna be done. The lease doesn't really give us anything. I mean, the bottom line is, it includes all 5 properties. So it was not something, and that was honestly not something that I was directly involved
Privy, yeah.
in. So
And all the existing buildings or whatever's on the 5 properties is that
that's correct.
goes to the county as well.
That they were just leased as a grand total to the county.
Got
And so it is a 99-year lease.
okay.
So they control the properties and whether they're gonna tear them down or repurpose them or move them. That's all in the county's hands. If they're
That's
down, they're
correct.
down.
And I would be perfectly honest with you, Mary Beth. My read from the county is their intention is to remove all of the older infrastructure. I mean,
Yeah.
in what I've heard from the county capital projects group.
Mhm.
I mean, that is, I believe the intention, and I, we don't have anything in stone yet. And they're still in the design process.
And they don't have to tell you what they're doing with the land, correct? I mean, they're gonna do whatever they're gonna do and y'all accept that and that's
We
that.
all
Mhm.
have a position on the boards. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm in the design group right now, and we've been working on the library design and trying to
Mhm.
make sure that the town road standards, we're clearly interested in seeing, because it's the downtown, that we're interested in seeing curb and gutter
Mhm.
and, similar types of things. We are interested in seeing Talbot as it goes up there be a little bit narrower road than the Talbot on the other side, just to kind of keep it from being a speed through.
Mhm.
We don't want people, turning left on Talbot to avoid the intersection out there, because the trouble is at Maple, there's no light.
Mhm.
And so we don't want people avoiding the backup of the crowds as far as the infrastructure is concerned.
Mhm.
This is kind of going to outline our downtown sector down there.
Mhm.
And we think it's good to have the connection through and that nature and tie everything through the 301. But we are interested in it being kind of a walking central business
Mhm.
district and not having it just be a bypass
Mhm.
through there. And, we're trying to make it, ensuring that sidewalks are built
Mhm.
in all different
Mhm.
ways and fashions. And, that some things are left. I mean, you know, I wanted to be sure, the library is actually very interested in having the park space so that people can walk out of the library and go down into there, and things like keeping your parents' big magnolia tree was something.
It's been hit 100 times. Have you seen it lately? It's a mess right now, again.
But it's something that I think was very interesting in, you know, creating it part of the
Well,
park and having it so that people can, you know, not only just go, check out a library book, but can go down into a park-like setting to read or to have lunch or all of those kind of things. And so I think it's a reasonable idea for the use of, you know, a combination between some park kind of settings in the library.
Is the carousel is the carousel involved with the county now? I know they were talking to them back in the day.
Patty, I would say I'm not aware of any specific negotiations in that situation. I know our lease isn't contingent in any way, shape, or form on the carousel. And I just be, the carousel wants to build and maintain and then keep control of and everything else of their whole unit. And that's very difficult for
Right.
governmental type of money and everything to turn over, you know, and to have a, you know, an office building and everything just for their offices and their workshop and all of those kind of things. It's very difficult to have that and just say, look, here's a grant and you're a private entity. You know, the Carousel Group is a private entity, and it's not like government can just turn around and say, here, you know, here's several $1 million, go, you know, go have what you want. And
Yeah, but
I
I
think it's one
understand
thing
that there
to-
was some
yeah.
talk
yeah,
with the commissioners even before, I mean,
yeah,
prior to this lease being signed. I don't know, Chris, I don't know. I haven't talked to him in a while but I know that they were, and Edith Patterson was involved and they were going to they were talking about it on the library property at one time, having offices in the at the library. So I don't know.
as I say, I'm
You don't know.
involved in the design.
Okay, so they
part of it
need
and
to
the
deal
design.
with it. They need to
Yeah,
deal.
they
with
deal with the
county.
county. Yeah,
Yeah.
the town has no control of anything now. I mean, it's done, it's over with.
Yeah.
The horse is
But I
out of the
don't mind-
barn and they're gonna do what they're gonna do.
And the whole, listen, the library, the county was interested in building a new La Plata library and
Mhm.
for numerous reasons, but one, the older facility over there, but also I think they had an interest in the land over there going to the hospital. So I think that was clear. La Plata's intention was all along to make sure that the library was still located within the town of La Plata.
Mhm.
And, you know, in discussions, I think behind the scenes with the county said, well, if you want it in La Plata, you know, basically give us a piece of land
Mhm.
and, you know, we'll build it in La Plata, but you've got to give us a piece of land to build it in La Plata. And so, you know, honestly, that started when you were on the council and,
Mhm.
you know, continued on. And
And really, in 2001, when the vision plan, the wonderful vision plan that didn't happen because of the tornado, that property is marked. You can go back to pull that centerfold and pull it out, and it's marked right there, Town Park. You know, so that's been a vision for a long, long time. This
and the connection
didn't
with
just-
Maple and Talbot
yeah,
has been
this
very
didn't
well.
just crop up, you know. I mean, it's sad to see the old homes. We've seen them go, Professor Summers' house, Professor Wright's house. We've seen them all go, you know, to, I guess, what you call the betterment of the town. It's unfortunate that there's no powers to be that help to preserve these old homes, but there is none. And so it's going to be what it's going to be.
From a county perspective, there's no one to appeal to about that one, right?
Huh?
But if the county controls it, is there somebody within the county that could have this conversation with in regards to the future of those two buildings?
See, I don't know, but that would have to come from the town of La Plata. And if the town of La Plata hasn't shown any interest in preserving them, I don't think we as a commission could pursue
Oh, okay,
that.
I didn't know.
I don't think we could. I mean, I think that has to come from the
I
town of La
thought we
Plata.
were advisory for them to pass it.
Well, we are, but you saw where that got us.
Well, what did we advise?
We didn't. We requested to meet with them, but we were never granted. I shouldn't say we weren't granted that. It didn't happen. A lot of other things were going on in the town, I guess, at the time. And so the town never did meet with the Historic Preservation Commission.
And I would say this, having been involved in numerous negotiations with the county,
Mhm.
the county's not particularly easy to deal with.
I remember those days from my mother being on the
You
council.
know,
Yeah.
the real challenge is, you know, we've got a lot of very tense negotiations going on.
Mhm,
You know, every year you negotiate your tax differential,
mhm,
and the county could just say, hell with the town, and give no tax differential.
mhm.
You know, we are currently working, and that negotiation's coming up here this month, actually, for next year. They hope to have the formula remain the same in that situation, but who knows? And so that's always one of the challenges for the town, is you have to be careful with what you're trying to get the county to do. We have had ongoing negotiations about the water interconnection. You know, we know that because of limited groundwater, we've known this for, 50 years, that the groundwater supply in this area, not just for us, but also for the county, is limited. And so we are both going to have to be bringing surface water in for additional supply, both here in La Plata and also with the county. We have had an ongoing negotiation with the county to try and, we know where we're going to make we're making the connection at Tillman Lake over there. But it is a tremendous challenge for us because the county doesn't want to, the county's basic position is any additional water that the town of La Plata needs, you have to buy from us at WSSC prices. Because we're buying from WSSC, and so anything additional. And the town's position has been, and I fight like hell, has been, we don't mind buying WSSC water. We know we both need that. We need a supply of surface water. There isn't a way to build a surface treatment facility large enough in the near term to be able to meet our needs. But in the short term, they're making a $50 million connection in Waldorf to WSSC. And that new water tower right up there that you see in Brandywine right now is going to be able to supply water from that major trunk line down there. And I think it's off the top of my head, I think it's a 36-inch connection that they're going to make. But what La Plata has said all along is, listen, we want to ensure that both the county and the town, in order to be fair, buy the same percentage of our water versus the appropriated water. If the county's buying 10% of its water from WSSC, the town should also buy 10% of its water. We don't think we should have to buy 50% of our water when the county's only buying 10% of its water. And so we've asked for a fairness doctrine because neither one of us owns any water. The state of Maryland owns all the water and is the controller of all appropriations. And, we had a meeting yesterday, and that the county and the town cannot agree on a fairness doctrine that says that we will both buy the same. They ultimately want to control the town of La Plata, and they want to do that through water, sewer, planning, all of those things. So that's where that is. We have a lot of projects going on for that always interact with the county, and getting back with what we said. And so, even negotiations like the library, which seems simple, aren't really simple. And so, the county just kind of wants to pat us on the head and say, okay, you give us the property, we'll build the library. But that's about all we want out of you. And we're trying, we're involved, but not in a large way.
Is there anybody at the county that we could talk to about moving the house? Does anybody want to move the houses? Joe Husing, move that one across the
Yeah.
railroad track. And so is there anybody that we can talk to at the county level about that without, formally?
John Stevens is head of capital projects for the county over there.
Okay,
And I'm sure, listen, if anybody wanted to move the houses, I'm sure the county would say, okay, because it just saves them from having to demolish the
yeah,
houses.
and how about
dispose of
going in there
everything.
and taking out holdings and so forth? Apparently the Hotchkiss house has still, I know it's been redone. I know she redid it.
He
I
did.
was involved with all of
Yeah.
that. But there's still moldings and stuff like that some group might be interested in.
I don't think that that's going to be a big problem once we get to that point. I think we could probably arrange to have groups come in there and tear some of that out or, and do some of
Well,
those.
I
kind of
mean,
things.
not necessarily us do it, but us.
No, I'm talking
offer
about,
it
I think
as-
other groups. I don't
Yeah.
think they would have a problem with that.
So you think, so is John Stevens the person to get to?
His group is going to be heading the project for building the new library. So,
Okay,
and so I think as part of this, listen, I had an Amish boy that lives across from me that would like to have had the Kendick house. And the Kendick house, well, but it's
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 just a
movable.
good shell. It's movable.
The Kendick
Came in
house
on a
was a
trailer.
modular house.
I remember
And so
when
you
it
can
came
go in and move the Kendick house because it just splits into two pieces.
Mhm.
You can put them on trailers and pull them out of there.
yeah.
And so the Amish were interested, they used to do it all the time down there. Hertzler's built modular houses and they still have the trailers. And so the Amish community can do those kind of things. But Patty, I don't know if I tried to get the situation where I could get the town to actually give it to the Amish to be able to do it. But we can't. We can't turn around and do that because it's giving town property to a private entity, to a person. It would be like saying, well, we feel sorry for Bobby Stahl and we want to give him a town vehicle.
Well,
And
okay.
you know what I'm saying? And you
Okay.
can't just give town property like that. And so, the attorneys have all advised us that that's not something.
It'd be
Yeah.
auction, couldn't it?
Huh?
Could it be auction?
It could be, but that here again, that's a major to do with the town. Anyhow, if you have to get into holding a public auction and all of that kind of stuff.
But at this point, y'all have no control over what happens to those
That's correct.
properties.
That's correct.
It's all in the county's hands.
Town does have some control over what happens to this house because they won't be demolishing anything without a permit. And that's in the town, and that's within planning's purview to control that. So what I was going to suggest is if historic preservation has a specific recommendation of how they think they want this to proceed, you should write it down and submit it to the council, submit it to planning, so that they're aware that you have this idea. Because it doesn't do any good for us to think all this through here and not tell anybody about it.
That way it becomes
Get it on
part
the
of
public record.
It's good to know.
The big thing is, I would disagree with Kelly on a certain extent that, yes, we do have the permits. But I'm going to tell you what, you've got a tax differential coming up here that would save everybody 19 cents on their tax rate. And the bottom line is the county doesn't have to give us anything in that situation. And so the town's not going to be cutting off its nose to spite its face in the situation.
And I don't
So
think we,
I'm just telling
as a
you,
commission, could do
there
anything
is
without the
limited,
approval of the town, so.
If we're looking at anything that would be contentious anyway. I mean, you're looking for a win-win where somebody gets to move the house out of the way so the county doesn't have to deal with it. The house gets preserved or gets disassembled in some way, and so the town doesn't have to deal with it. And it shouldn't be a burden to anybody except whoever ends up with the house.
The big challenge is, and I would just say, like, for instance, moving either the Hotchkiss house or the Winkler house is very difficult because it's a two-story home. And, you know, they weren't built in separate stories to be able to say, well, we'll just take the top story off as one part and the bottom story off as another. The challenge would be is that most home movers, for instance, would come in, you know, jack the house up, back to trailers underneath, put it down, and then tow it out of there. The challenge on that area right there, if you go down there and look, is that all of the power lines and everything are not very tall. And to take a two-story home out of there down Washington Avenue and to try and get it anywhere
Put on all the trees. and-
would be an absolute very costly venture.
It would have to
When
be
Joe
something-
Husick moved that house, they actually just picked it up and craned it across on the other side of the railroad tracks.
We did the train station too.
Right, that's what, yeah.
Yeah, but
Right.
the
They
other
just
house
picked
was-
it up.
That two-story house was the best.
And there weren't any power lines in between there or any.
Yeah, the only way I ever saw taking it out would be from the backside of the property and over, you know.
Okay,
But,
okay. That's enough
anyway.
of that. I know you guys want to get to, I want to get to the caboose and everything, but I think it might be worthwhile to do the thing, the letter to the council that we would like to, the proposal to the council that we would like to,
Let me say this, I have certainly expressed to Art Swan and to John Stevens that there have been concerns on the town side about the preservation of the homes, or at least some of the materials out of the homes.
yeah,
The county's clearly aware of that, Patty. I haven't
okay,
not
okay, good.
expressed that to
Yeah.
them, and I continue to express that to them. The big challenge has always been, and it's the same, you know, it was like that with us when I had the Amish boy who wanted the Kendick house. You know, it's just the lawyers get involved and next thing you know, it gets to be a very, you know, where's this going? Is
Yeah.
this for public use or is this for private use and all of this? And it's just, you know, the sad thing is for a lot of that, it's easier to just go crush it all up, put it in a trash can and it goes to the landfill. And that way nobody benefits from it. And it's easier from an administrative standpoint to just say, look, this is where it's going to go.
Okay.
And so I say that
I'm good.
just because the reality is that's, you know, I'm just being
Yeah.
straight up. I'm not trying to.
Yeah,
Um,
By all means, document it.
yeah, but, yeah, after 20 years of this, I mean, that's how long I've been dealing with this, you know, that property and these houses and all of this stuff.
I think
I think it's a good idea to just go ahead and,
I'm working on it from the library now and just trying to get the library designed.
oh,
You
yeah,
know, as you know, I
Yeah.
was the one who went out and negotiated contracts and everything to buy everything
I know,
up, and I did.
I know.
And I'm
Yeah.
not, you know, I won't,
yeah,
you know,
Okay.
say that I don't have my hand in this, but, you
yeah.
know, it was honestly because, you know, we wanted a library site and
Okay.
that we were
So
trying.
I don't
And
know.
I appreciate this conversation
getting
because
into
those of us on the commission, or if people know we're on the commission, they question us.
Sure.
Well,
I
why
mean, to
can't
know
they
the
move?
reality-
What's the big
reality.
deal? And it gives us something to say, well, this is why it's a big deal. It's unfortunate. But unless we had somebody that wanted to purchase those houses and move them, it isn't going to happen.
Well, let me say this. I think if, you know, if there was someone who had something and had a reality, you know, a really, number one, the ability to move them, a place to take them to and that kind of thing, and could do it in a
Yes,
time frame that meets the county's time frame, there could be justification that they're going to save money in demolition to be able to do that. And they would reasonably have that.
And I have
I'm
to
not sure
honestly
that you
say
can find
between
that.
between
I'm not aware of anything.
the
but
two
that's kind of
houses.
Out of the way.
the Hotchkiss house was one of the Posey Row houses, and we only have 3 of those left now. And they're all, when they tear down the Hotchkiss house, there'll only be 2 left. One has been restored.
Who owns the vacant lot where one of the Posey houses used to be?
Sanders, Larry Sanders.
That seems like a natural landing spot for. the
Doesn't it?
Hotchkiss
I
house.
can just see the Hotchkiss house going across the back and onto that piece of property that Larry Sanders owns.
It would be
Mm-hmm,
the easiest thing to do. I think.
yeah.
I think one of the challenges really is that then whoever buys that piece in dealing with an older home, it's really not, none of that is now slated for residential development. It's all slated for
For
commercial. And
What
so,
about the carousel group? They're looking for office building or office space, and they're looking for a place for their carousel.
Maybe it's talking to a private citizen like Eddie Sanders, or go to the, I don't know anything about the La Plata Businessmen's Association, whether they would have any interest in anything like that for preservation purposes.
yes.
I don't know, but I just don't want to do anything that's going to upset the town's negotiations with the counties.
And that's kind of honestly, our negotiations with the county are very frank. But, from your mom's time, from Patty's time, you always know that it is a tenuous, with your dad,
Yeah.
dealing with the county is not easy.
Right.
It is a very tough negotiation. There's multiple agendas and you just have to be careful what you wish for, because, sometimes.
Whereas when the road went through, Talbot went through, and the Hermitage property and all that, the county controlled all that. They bought the property. The town, it wasn't a town deal at all.
That's right.
Actually, some of
But when that road was built, I've been told that it's the most expensive piece of road in all of Charles County.
It
Per
very well could.
square, whatever.
Some of the folks at the library still think the library is going back in that area, back between that road and the Hermitage.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when it hit the website, that they were getting a new library and there was a lot of discussion going on and people were, my wife emailed some people she knew at the hospital, at the library, and said, where are you gonna put it? And they said there. So they don't even know where it's gonna be.
Well, let me say this, I ultimately believe that at one time, that property might have been part of the Hermitage. Most likely it was. I mean, I think that.
Oh, you mean the Lorenz or Winkler property? And oh, that was all part of the Hermitage.
It was all part of the Hermitage at one time.
Not owned
Because
by
they
the
were only-
Matthews, but owned by the Good, whatever it was. What was who was the first owner of the Hermitage? Good, Rich Good.
Chapman? I thought it was Chapman.
Chapman's on
Matthews.
this side.
But they were all, it was all originally the same thing, wasn't it?
Mm-mm. Oh, I've got I just saw the name yesterday. Good, Rich, Rich, Good, Good, Rich.
There were really only 4 original tracks. There was the LaGrange property down there, which that was that property, and then the Hermitage, the
Yeah,
Chapman parcel.
and Stone Street.
Stone Street property, okay. There were only 4 original
Yeah.
properties that kind of
Okay.
controlled it all. And it was
Right.
not something that, that the Chapman family, I guess kind of this downtown, the oldest part of downtown was all part of the original Chapman
Yeah,
property.
Chapman
Okay.
Farm, which would have been your husband's great something.
Mine, not my husband.
I mean, that's right. You and your brother. Yeah, you and your brother. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. So,
So that's where we are with that. And I honestly just said, and I can discuss any of the public works things. One of the things I will tell you that's one of the biggest challenges we are facing everywhere from an operational standpoint is lead times. Lead times in everything are absolutely ridiculous. And so I'm telling you what, materials we ordered the windows for the front of we contracted with Centennial Contractors to do the police station. We ordered all those materials back in July, and the windows are just being delivered on Tuesday. We ordered trash cans for the town. Have almost completely run out of trash cans. We ordered trash cans last June, and we're still 4 weeks out on the trash cans. We ordered a trash truck last June, and now they're telling us that we will not get a 23 chassis. We'll actually end up with a 24 chassis. They've had the body in stock since the fall, but they can't get a truck chassis to put it on until probably this coming fall. We have just had, I just got a thing, we're building a new pump station down at the southwest quadrant down there where Steeplechase is. And we just got a set of shop drawings for the new generator for that. And the generator is 48 week lead time. So almost a year. So that's the kind of thing that we're facing everywhere, is that materials are so delayed on everything that, you know, we're seeing tremendous. It's not that we couldn't go out and do the work, it's that we can't get the materials to get the work done. So it's a big challenge for us right now.
Christine, I'm sure you're familiar with that.
Mhm.
Y'all's business.
Mhm.
What we sell, we have a hard time. We lost 2 suppliers.
Mhm.
And it's not like they're a lot to begin with.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, nobody
Well-
can get anything, and it's just extremely difficult to try and get anything done. I mean, down there at Heritage Green, for instance, they're having a very hard time getting PVC pipe to put in the ground. And PVC, they're trying to order the pipe for section K. You know, it's on the map right there, that's the first section. And they're looking at lead times in September for getting the pipe in to be able to start putting sewer and water infrastructure in. So a lot of these things are delaying
So
projects.
the final suggestion then for us is to, I mean, is there any purpose that, to document anything that we had the discussion, or just, do we have a clear understanding that it's just in the county's hands now and it'll be what it'll be?
Well, it sounds
Or
to
do
me
we
like
still-
we can at least discuss what we would like to have done and present that to the town. Yes, this is in relation to the permitting aspect of it, or whatever that's worth. And maybe be able to present that to the county through the town. That's what it sounds like to me.
You know, I'm happy to bring back to the table anything. I don't have any problem bringing things back to the table.
Well, the goal being to be non-obstructive, just get it out of the way. I mean, if they have lead time issues with building the library as well, which I imagine they will have, it seems like that might open a little bit of time to move these structures if we
Yeah.
can find a way to get that done.
What I heard was they hope to have the library built by 2025. So that's 3 years out,
If they can get.
but the road by 2023. I don't know. So evidently they're ready to start rolling.
They are. There's no doubt about that. If I'm not mistaken, the lease has been signed.
Oh, yeah.
I don't,
The
you know,
lease
I
was
believe
signed, yeah,
the lease has been signed.
it has.
I'm
been.
not sure it's gone back to the county yet. I know there was some discussion as to where, you know, who that had to approve everything. But in discussions with Brent last night, I thought he indicated to me that the lease had been signed.
Okay.
So, you know, here again, once that is all finalized, I think it will reasonably be out of the town's hands at that point. And my understanding from the county capital projects is that they were planning to get in there to start moving very quickly.
Okay.
So just one last thought, and it's unfounded in any knowledge. Okay, I'll start with that. I'm just trying to use a little magic. Clearly, to do anything with these 2 houses that keeps them intact, moving them, it's really a huge challenge. It's just obvious to me that for administratively, physically, cost, all that, just listening to all this. It sounds like they're still in the planning phases on what to do with the 5 properties, how to situate the library. There's discussion of a park and some other things. Is there an opportunity within that plan that they could repurpose the 2 houses as part of the facility at the park for something?
Probably.
And they would survive.
The Lorenz property maybe, but my understanding is that the Hotchkiss house has to go because the street's going right through
Through
it.
it.
The street's going right.
You could physically move it within the 5 properties,
Yeah, you
I'm
can move
assuming,
it
and
elsewhere
get
along
it
the line,
moved
yeah.
without running the wires and stuff.
Right.
If there was a purpose that made sense to people and it was usable, as part of a facility there. Maybe there's an answer there that would preserve them without going through the hassle of everything else.
And I would just say, you know, and I look at it from our facility standpoint across the board, the challenge is, and is always from a governmental standpoint, when you go to deal with an older property like that, not only do you move it, but then you have to deal with all of the things about ADA bathrooms, you know, ADA accessibility. All of those things have to be done for public buildings. So if you're going to repurpose them for a public building, especially from a commercial standpoint, suddenly you have to, you know, put an elevator in, you know, you're going to have to do all of those things to make, you know, bring the bathrooms up to ADA code. And you're going to take a home that's roughly 100 years old and try to somehow utilize that in a public manner. And it just becomes
Yeah,
extremely.
the Hotchkiss house was brought up to that ADA because that was commercial.
Yep.
The Winkler property was still residential. So for the Hotchkiss house to be moved is more in line with ADA than the Winkler
Okay.
property, yeah.
And even
Yeah,
that,
but
it
it
wasn't a
just
public, it was a
Sounds
private,
like it should
it was
be.
commercial, but it was private, you know.
That's
It
why I
was
was thinking.
Yeah, we don't
was
have,
commercial, but it
I
was
know we don't
private.
have firm ground to declare it some kind of an amazing historical property that's special for some reason that would give us some power behind it. We just don't have it, so.
I don't think we have that really anywhere
Mhm.
in town to the.
Well, I could be, I just.
Maybe the Hermitage.
National Register.
Yeah, the Hermitage is on the National Register, but that's the only
Perhaps,
thing.
and maybe Grange.
LaGrange is on the National Register. yeah.
And listen, the state was trying to buy LaGrange, and that became a nightmare. If you remember, I mean, there was money for it and everything else to be able to buy it. And then they couldn't get anybody to take it. I mean, they approached the town of La Plata and wanted La Plata to take it. They wanted the college of Southern Maryland to take it. Everybody, they wanted everybody to take it, and everybody went, oh, no, 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 even if you buy it, we don't want it, because the bottom line is it becomes very, very, very difficult to manage that and to then, because it is a tremendous drain. And that's not being negative on it, it's just the reality of such when you're looking at it from, you know, a facility standpoint, you go, wow, all of these things are difficult.
Mhm.
So, same is true for our firehouse, for instance, you know, you have an older facility there that's, you know, has a second floor that has a stairway that's, you know, 24 inches, you know, in
Yeah.
width, that just goes straight up and the turns and everything. And so you can't really utilize the second floor because there's not even reasonable, you couldn't even meet fire code as far as having distance to go down the stairs with a handrail.
Mhm.
All of these things are just very problematic.
That's great.
Yeah, firehouse, it doesn't meet fire code.
Well, and that's the trouble with ADA.
Yeah.
You know, when we're the government, you know, we're making everybody else build everything to ADA and to all of the different fire codes and everything else. We as government have to be especially careful that we meet all the codes, because we're the one who has to enforce them on everybody else. And you never want people coming back and saying, wait a second, you didn't do this. What about us? We want to do this now. And, you know, we expect the same leeway. It's very tough.
Well, thank you, Bobby,
Yes, ma'am.
for going over
I'll-
this with us.
I'll turn it.
You're gonna hang out, but
I will.
yeah, we spent a lot of time on this.
Sorry.
Thanks for, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I really appreciate it.
No problem.
I mean, I know Mary Beth does. Yeah.
I know, Donnie was going to talk about the caboose. I mean, I can talk about some.
Yeah, I can, let me along.
Go ahead.
Come on.
Does this work?
You want to come to the table or you're happy back there?
He's got a
Ma'am.
mic.
Well, I'm glad I don't have to write because I've had to misspell words. Anyway, so let me bring you up to date where we're at right now. I'm not very satisfied from where we started from back in probably September, I believe it was. I thought there would be a kind of wouldn't be so bad to get the request done for doing renovations at the caboose. Well, it wasn't to my surprise, but when we started, after talking to to y'all and what you wanted, and what you were looking at. There's finding a contractor or someone that can do that work. It didn't really enter my mind at the time that it would be so difficult. And I'm not making excuses, but to getting someone in there to, you talking about exterior painting of the caboose, the right type of paint to make sure it's done right. But the biggest part was the interior. There's lead paint, there's rotten wood, whatever going on. And contractors, some of them looking, they really wasn't interested. So finding contractor that would look at these different types, and I didn't really realize it when I started. But as time goes on and then working, and next thing you know, here it is, the bad weather. I get my quotes. I couldn't get my quotes in as soon as I wanted to, and find the contractors. But once I did, it was almost too late to start doing any of the work on the place due to the weather going into. So as time went on, and here we are now, but since then, we've come up with a contractor that it's looking at all the facets of whether it be the exterior work that has to be done, the ceiling of the roof, plus the working around the glass, it's not so much the glass, but the wood around there. I think some of the work with the contractor I'm working with now is got some Amish work being done in there on the doors. You just can't just replace the doors. The doors gonna have to be probably removed and blocked and then reworked and put back in there. So, with that said, I've got right now, we have a contractor that we reviewed quite a few times, and we think that can do the work as what we expect, not just someone going there slapping paint or putting lipstick on a pig. Okay, so we wanted, and you can go higher up with, to extreme perfection. We got someone now that I think that not only just myself, but even with Bobby and different ones that we feel that can take care of the job, do the job for us. With that said, we looking at in March, sometime March starting on this here, what I will need. I know as we go to work with this here is some of the electrical work that's going to be want to be set in there and where about, so that I don't have anything on, money wise, whatever on that, or contract or what to do on that. So as we go forward with this, that's going to have to be addressed, because we only got so much power running into it where it's at. And if we had to relocate some stuff, and who's going to install what equipment, that you want in there for viewing, whatever. So I don't have that. So that would be something to come up again. So, and I think we're in so far money wise, we're, I think somewhere 13, I get an idea right at 8,700 to 9 total right now. And we've had them high up as 13,000 just inside work, so it goes back and forth. And I think we're now where we're at, and my time has been spent working with different ones, and where I don't want to have me or the town saying, well, we'll just put anybody in there to do this and do that,
The guy that we think we should work with in this is.
He's a contractor
For the train station.
He's done work for the town
He has
many
done
times.
work.
Is it Brian Cooper?
No, Wayne Suit.
Cooper's son?
No, Wayne Suit.
Wayne Suit.
Wayne Suit.
Right.
He did the train station?
Yes, he
Okay,
did the train
but
station.
Cooper, who I sent to you, told me that he what was it, Waco, that had all the problems with the county, that, he said that they had done the caboose originally, and that they had asbestos proofed it and everything. I met him in Lowe's, and I sent him to Donnie. I don't know whether he ever got, he's got his own company now or something.
But
I mean, if
Waco did a lot of the original work to remove the asbestos and all of that.
Right,
When
right.
it was originally done. The painting, however, is a little bit different in that the painting still has the lead. They didn't go take it all the way
Oh, they
down.
didn't take it
They
down.
encapsulated it. And so when you go in there and you start, having to sand or having to do anything, you still run
Yeah.
into lead paint issues.
You know, it's all crumbling down.
So you're talking about 13,000 for the inside and,
No, that's was one of my quotes. I'm looking at 87 to 9,000 total.
87,000.
No,
8,700.
700.
Did I say 1,000?
Whoa, it's gonna be one expensive caboose.
That's what yeah, you were talking about,
I thought you just
you
think.
went from
make
80
some
down to
mistakes.
90 to 13 for something, and that's why I was saying.
Now,
From
I've
Very
had
nice.
I've
the
had
range
it,
of bids that we were getting was in.
Oh,
I've had quote just doing interior work for $13,000, just doing interior work. And that's not even painting. So I'm just giving you an idea that it's been up and down,
Yeah.
trying to make get a selection.
Are you still accepting quotes for that, proposals for that, or is that you guys have picked the person that you want?
Right now, we picked a person
Okay.
and the contractor.
Okay.
For this
For
right here,
inside and out?
with the inside and out, right?
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
That's a total of about
Yes.
$9,000.
Which is, I mean, we budgeted for that, way back, right? And didn't we budget for 12 somewhere
Yeah.
along the way?
If it was back, you can count on that money. How way back.
The bottom line is, Patty, we have money.
Yeah, but
And we're gonna utilize the money. It will be repurposed over from other things, but it's not.
what do you need from us when it comes to the audio system, which is where
What
Rich comes
his
in?
needs,
Hmm?
their needs and where they want it at, location, make sure we have the proper, power there, where we can put it there. That kind of stuff.
When do you need to know?
As soon as possible.
Okay, so, because we've ordered all the material, I don't know when exactly, it's coming from the UK, so I'm not exactly sure when it's gonna get here.
Oh, so everything has been ordered? Okay.
Okay, well, I can tell you, I can't tell you right now, the
It's low
start
voltage
date.
stuff, except for the power for the, like, 110. I don't think it's anything special.
I think all we need to know is just what we're gonna need as far as the, the requirements and where. If you need 110 power, if you can just show us where it's gonna be.
Yeah, okay.
Then that way, we're not,
Well, we're gonna locate it, if you recall, there's a bench.
to the left when you go in.
Well, as you go in on the right side,
Okay. yeah.
you got that old closet, then there's something else, and then there's like a bench that you can lift up. We thought it'd be good to maybe locate it in there.
Okay.
And, maybe a little shelf or something. So, yeah, so that's where I'm at with the equipment itself.
Now, we'll request, when I find out, and I'll let y'all know when our start date is, but before the start date, the items that's in the caboose to be relocated.
And we need to give you some details on the planning. I know, like, we want to put a speaker outside when you walk in, and if the caboose is locked, you push the button, you can listen to a story. So we want 2 places to listen, one outside and one somewhere in the middle. And we're also looking at potential for some artwork too, pictures and explanations and.
I don't think any of
But that's add-on later.
Yeah, this all sounds-
The big thing is for us, if bringing power in, we'll just drill up from the bottom and just bring the power in, and bringing it over from the train station. We'll
There's already
probably
power in there, so I don't know what.
Yeah, we got enough power. I just didn't know if you need receptacles here or there, or what he needs.
How about outside security cameras for the whole place? Can we get those while we're at it?
Patty, I would say this, there was money in the ARPA budget, the American Rescue Plan Act monies that was associated with cameras as a whole. And I'm happy to put that into the mix. As, uh, as far as that's concerned, I'm happy to throw that into the mix of, there has been money allocated to cameras throughout the town. And I think we could just sit down and look at that as a potential for, a place that wants to
Well,
have
please,
additional cameras.
please, since we're redoing it and everything, please, let's get some security cameras there because somebody's trying to get in the door of the caboose all the time.
Every time I go there, that door's pushed in and it's got a latch on it and a lock, so you can't open it, but somebody's testing it. It's always. pushed
And you
open.
can see right in.
And I make sure I
you know,
close it and latch it, so it's not the wind doing it.
Yeah, it would be.
Which
good.
one is that?
The
door
one
in the
that's
caboose?
closest to
Yeah, the
the
back door in the
station, yes.
caboose, yeah. It's
Yeah,
just-
well,
it's
you see-
kind of- it's kind of-
Well, one of the things that I'm having them do is your key lock, I'm having that taken out and reset, put back in there. So we won't have that type of lock on the door. We'll have a deadbolt, which is what you have there now, that's not being used. So that won't have a hinge but a padlock like out there.
Okay.
So you can open, push and open it up.
Yeah, well, since we're doing all of this, for Pete's
That
sake,
makes-
put some security cameras, but you
Yeah.
stay there in the,
We have put, and I can't remember the exact amount, but I think it's like $100,000 was allocated in the ARPA funds to be able to do that.
okay, please include us in it.
Yeah.
Okay,
What did you,
So what do you-
what did you allow for?
yeah.
All right, we're gonna have to move our agenda on here, but y'all are, the three of you are tuned in, that's all. Yes.
Just somebody reach out, let me know when you talk and we can walk through, do a walkthrough or something.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, happy to.
So that's.
We did order the stuff, just so you know.
Yeah,
The price is, it's in pounds, it's 710 pounds. Given the current rate, it's about $910. So for the total, for that, just the caboose, I don't do the museum side, so
okay,
just for your planning. And I'm waiting till everything finalizes because there's going to be a tax or something I think that we have to pay just to bring it in the
Yeah.
country and stuff like
And
that. So
that's-
until I get to a final number, I'll give you a bill.
and that's coming out of our current budget.
That's for the historical preservation. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, we're,
Okay, well,
we're doing
thank you
ours
both.
that, I'm not spending your money, I'm actually spending
Yeah,
facilities money.
Money on
that.
the
So
restoration, yeah.
which is the budget
Yeah,
that I
that's what I
can,
was-
so I have facilities money for this and we're putting it.
Okay, well, thank you both for taking the
Yeah.
time to bring us up to speed. So just keep in touch, let us know when we need,
Will do.
Rich, give us a call, whenever you have
Yeah,
some free
right.
time, we're both here every day, so.
Okay.
Thanks, Donnie.
What's your number?
301-943-3398.
Okay.
I'll catch Donnie, whichever.
Okay.
Generally easier to catch him.
My email, I'm already on.
Okay.
yeah,
Sounds good.
just D Garner, Town of La Plata.
So you're gonna,
Yeah.
so
And
you're.
it's
gonna-
Feel better.
GARNER.
Couldn't get it done.
Donnie's there. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Rich, while it's.
And I have Donnie's number too, if you need it.
Is any of that equipment going to be affected by the heat that's generated in that caboose?
No, we checked on that.
Okay.
Okay, the model train display, any update on that? I know, Rich, you've been working on that
So
and,
we've been working on the building,
yeah,
a little building. So my son-in-law has built the building. I think he needs to paint it yet, but
mhm.
yeah, it's,
Was he 3D printing that? 'Cause that's beautiful.
yeah. Did
Oh,
you see?
pictures, it's-
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's
it's
coming
marvelous.
along. He's doing his spare time. So if
Yeah.
they need it by a certain time, I'll push him.
That's great.
Okay, and then I believe that Bob
if we like
Curran
it,
is
I-
working on
It
some
looks like
things.
it's gonna be fairly, I apologize.
Oh, go
It
ahead.
looks like it's gonna be fairly big. I hope we built it to the right scale.
Well, I was saying,
But
when
we
they were
did a-
talking about the buildings they wanted to have on that table, was that scale of train, you're not going to get more than 3 or 4 buildings.
Yeah.
Because train's so big, you
Yeah.
know?
So anyway, it's coming.
Well, that's up to you men, whatever scales or whatever happens.
I was hoping that
I know
Bob
nothing about
Curran
trees.
would be here
But I
because
was hoping Bob would too.
these are, I'm proposing for trees for the, it's just sedum that the
Okay.
deer didn't eat, but I've been dipping it in, glycerin.
Glycerin?
Makes it a little bit sticky,
Mhm.
but it keeps it from getting crumbly. And
Mm-hmm.
I think, and Bob just told me, all he's gonna do is drill a hole and just stick it in the table, so
Okay.
that's, I've got two
You know,
different.
I thought Bob was going to be here today.
That's one weed, which looks like a tree with leaves on it. That's the
Uh-huh.
other one. So
Okay.
we're just, I'm dipping and blotting.
And when just, we're not going to open, our first opening date will be what, April 28th. But I guess will you men be in there between now and then working on the model, or it's just going to be what it's going to be?
I've been in there, I took all the lights down off finally got to it after all the weather. And I stored everything in the station. So actually all the reeds and all the junk is still in the station. That's gonna have to be taken out, put in the storage building here.
Okay.
But I didn't see any progress. Somebody put some twigs down that I guess are gonna be trees on the table. But I didn't see any movement on the station at all, on the table design at
Okay.
all. It's just like it was before.
Big thing we need is the glass around it, right? The plexiglass we were talking
Yeah.
about. that
And
sort of thing.
Bob has a vision for that.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
plan.
a quote for it.
But that won't go up till after all the model is done.
Well, I hope
correct?
it's set up in such a way that you can take the panels
Panels
out,
off.
work on
Yeah.
it, and
Yeah.
then put it back, so it almost doesn't matter.
I can get back in touch with him to see what the status, if he's ready to order those or whatever.
Yeah, because I know.
Or we can just let it lay for a while. What is y'all's recommendation?
We ought to push on it a little bit because that's gonna be about the only thing that's gonna change between last season and this season in terms
April
of
28th,
museums.
be honest before we know.
Get the, if we get the audio tour in too, that would be a new thing, but the exhibits are gonna be pretty much the
Okay,
same.
what's going on with the audio for the museum building
So I'll
itself?
be honest, nothing. And the
Nothing.
reason is I wanted to make sure it's to all liking.
Yes,
So do the caboose first. If it's to everybody's liking, then we can
come back.
do it again for the building. And frankly, I think the building one will be more interesting because we have so many neat displays there.
Yeah,
The way it looks like it works to me is that, if you want to adjust what's said and change the scripts and all that, you could do that. But right now I've done nothing.
boots
Just
is first. Okay,
just want to make sure that we like it. And it's going to be, we're kind of ordering it out of a catalog from afar. It's,
Yeah.
so I want to make sure it's right.
so while we're on the audio system, there was never any vote taken that we have found a recordation of to spend the money on the audio system.
Oh,
So the
I'm interested
town
in
wants
that.
us to vote on this, so it's on the record of so let's just, do we just want to take the caboose right now and the monies for that, or do we want to go ahead and include what costs we think would be? I think we
I
talked
can
about
give you
$2,500
total for both. Yeah.
total
So
for both.
looking
Is
at
that what you
about-
want to vote on?
who we could, and as long as it's understood that it's an estimate, it could go up or down a little bit, but it's within 10% probably.
Okay,
And I'm optimistic unless exchange rates mess us up or something weird.
okay,
I have
so,
a firm price for the caboose. The other side is weaker.
okay, well, will you make a motion that,
Yeah, I have great interest in that. So yes, yes, I would like to make a motion for funding for the caboose audio system.
Mhm.
Do you need an
in the amount of,
In the amount of
Approximately.
approximately $1,000. And if we want to do both, we could just say approximately 1,500 for the building.
yeah, well, let's just do the approximate for both of them.
Oh, okay,
So
so
$2,500,
$2,500 for
25.
both?
okay. And we'll need a second on that.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, okay.
You don't know how happy that makes me. I already paid
That
for
makes
it.
Kelly happy
I
too.
already paid for it.
That makes Kelly happy. Yeah, yeah, she gave me a whole set of instructions on purchasing.
Okay.
Okay, so taking care of that, Christchurch, anything
Okay.
going on the plaque?
Okay, I talked with Reverend Heikler about this, and she has taken it to the vestry, and they have informally approved it. Their questions are what it will say and where it will be placed. And before I go into that, I wanted to talk about the fact that we already have that plaque that is set up. I don't know, does the state sets that big?
Historic.
Yeah, historic marker. But I thought we needed the heritage plaque also. I think that's because it adds to, it's to the good of La Plata. So what I told her was that I thought that I think we agreed that it was for them to decide where they wanted it, but we would like it near the entrance to the church. As far as the wording, what I thought I'd do is I started drafting something and I thought I'd send it to you. And you can send it to everybody else. Then we'll get it to them. And if whatever changes they want to make, that's fine. We can bring it back this way because what they're saying is what it's going to say. And I just thought if we had something that kind of outlined what it was going to say.
Yeah. And then that's the procedure is we get it started, that we send it out to everybody and we tweak and it comes back and then we send it out to International Bronze and then it comes back again after we see what it looks like. And it's usually a process of 3 or 4 times, but the first part is just getting in the wording.
Okay.
You give us the wording and we'll
Okay.
tweak it from there.
All right.
Okay?
And you don't have an approximate number of words on that. Should I just go back and look at what you did on the hospital?
You can look at what we did on the hospital
Okay,
or the train station.
okay.
Yeah, it's very simple. The theater, all 3 of
Theater.
those. Yeah. It's just getting the meat of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I thought, Barry.
Mhm.
Okay, great. And,
Okay.
so I think that's where we are at
Okay,
this point.
okay. So if you'll get that to us and we can get that ball rolling and then start working on the next.
Great, wonderful.
Okey doke. 20th anniversary. We haven't heard anything from the town as to any need from us regarding the 20th anniversary of the tornado event. So I assume that's all under the town and that don't need our assistance with that.
Well, I was gonna ask you, it looks like from Councilman Trollinger's report for beautification, but he wasn't talking about beautification. He's talking about keep La Plata beautiful, right?
I'm not sure which report you're talking about.
It's the report on the anniversary of the tornado, the 20th anniversary of the tornado. He was giving the report for the Beautification Commission.
He was, beautification did talk about that. Keep La Plata Beautiful hasn't been involved in planning for the 20th anniversary. That's all under special events. So that was.
That's
Michelle
all
and
under
Colleen.
Colleen.
So,
And beautification was involved in that, but I was not involved. in that.
okay, because I thought when he was talking about the vibrant young women that were, it
Well,
didn't sound like the
obviously he was
Beautification
implying
Commission
that.
that I was on. Okay,
No.
okay, so I thought that.
It was me.
Taking the lead no, it's all special events.
I know
Okay.
beautification was involved in a decision at some point, but I don't know what that point was.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
special
it's,
events.
so.
Beautification is doing a bronze plaque, I can tell you that, because they're using international sales to do it. And it's going to be dedicated out here by the sculpture, I guess, on the 28th. That's what I know about that.
There is a 30-minute program planned. Again, I'm hearing the second hand,
Yeah.
so I
Right,
can't talk
right.
dates or anything, but it's starting
So-
at 6:30 and it's before the concert.
Yeah, but they don't need anything from historic preservation, which is fine with us. Okay?
They
I
are
think
putting
it's
up
good.
a display in the atrium. This artwork is leaving and.
Well, that's what we thought where we were going to come into this, but evidently they've already got it figured out what they're doing, and that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. We don't need another task.
Me on the commission to pull all this stuff out, but I'm sure that they've gotten everything that was upstairs that
I've been upstairs once.
Bill
Fascinating.
Edmonds charts and all that stuff, these huge, I'm sure they've got them and
Yeah.
let them do it.
Let 'em
They-
do it.
They know what they're doing.
Okay. Now, we've covered the purchase of the sound system, so that's done.
Mhm.
Okay, proposed changes to the code. Did everybody get those and read them over?
Now, the
Did we-
reason I called it the proposed changes to the code rather than what had been suggested as an amendment to ordinance number 1713 is because ordinance number 1713 established code, the existence of this council, this commission, and all of those things. So you don't really amend the previous ordinance. You write a new ordinance that will change things within the code. And so using some of the things that you outlined in your concerns, I put together, looking at the current ordinance, what that affects. So in the ordinance, section 11.2, composition, membership, and terms, you said that you want to change from 7 to 5. And for one of them to be an alternate member who may sit on the commission when someone's missing. So it's just reducing the number from 7 to 5.
And y'all understood the purpose of reducing it down so that we have a quorum of 3, we can conduct a meeting. It's very hard to get a quorum of 5.
So then you want to change that no more than 2 members may reside outside of the town of La Plata corporate limits.
No, we wanted to
Just completely remove that.
move that so that there's no restriction on how many people
And that's
live
fine.
outside of the town of
Because
Plata.
none of the other commissions have that in there.
What that does is I've gone through also and outlined some things that alters. Your breakdown, of course, would no longer add up to 7. So you need to take a look at how many members are appointed for a year, how many members are.
And that could all, I didn't want to get into that with the entire commission. It's because it gets confusing, but that should all just be deleted. That was when we were first getting set up, who was going to be appointed for a year, who was going to be appointed for 3 years, 4 years. That, all the appointments now are a 3-year appointment.
That makes sense.
Is that also to prevent it from the entire commission turning over at one time though?
Yeah, I think.
Oh, there's already a stagger in place.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because of the way you began it.
yeah,
There's already a
yeah.
stagger.
Yeah. We were all staggered, yeah. Uh-huh.
So that's very good.
Mhm.
Okay, so then the next part of it that you had highlighted was the mayor may appoint from the approval of remaining members of the town council, a member of the commissioners. I'm sorry, that get cut off in Unicode for some reason, but from the town council to serve as an ex officio non-voting representative of the commission, and you want them to be a voting member.
That, the other planning and Parks and Rec and beautification, the council member is is the 5th member of the commission. In other words,
To voting.
So that makes them a voting member.
If we're an advisory commission to the town, doesn't that put the town in the position of advising itself?
No, every single one of them. If you go through the code, every single one of them has, it says shall appoint. The council shall, the mayor, with the approval of the council, shall appoint a member of, the 5th member of the commission. The way it reads, I think. You've got it up there. I'm not as fast as he is.
Well, it says may appoint, but that doesn't
It
matter.
says may, but then if you look under planning and all of that, it's shall.
Okay, so you want to
And
change
that's
that.
legally,
Well, shall means we must. as opposed
it
to-
has will, it has shall.
Okay,
So you have 5 members, one of them's going to be a council member, so you really are having 4
Four,
members from the
yeah.
public.
5
the
members
alternate.
and an alternate, and 1 is a council member.
okay.
And then we're going to have subcommittees, so
As a
that,
voting member,
huh,
council member would be a voting member.
member.
So
Yes.
If you only had a quorum of 3, 1/3 of your vote is could potentially be from the town.
Well, that's the way planning is, Parks and Rec and beautification are all written that way in the code.
The only thing I know, it's very hard to get 5 people,
How many of
5,
us are
and
in now?
there's 7 of us right now.
So will we end up with too many and we have to get rid of some?
Well, I think what we
Or
will
just
do
not
is
fill it.
just let their term run out.
Okay, you got a little ahead of me, and that's fine, because that's next. what constitutes quorum. So if that would be 3 as opposed to 5.
Right.
And then the last item that sort of affected is all the way at the end of the code.
Well, you went through the whole
So
thing.
can I,
That's
Yeah,
fascinating.
yeah.
let me just pull back to the big picture a little bit, what our desires are. This whole discussion is around making it easier to have meetings and have a quorum.
Correct.
Okay, it's turning into cut the size of the group down significantly and change the kind of the character of it in terms of the role of the council member. I'm not worried about the council member participation, but it seems like we're doing a lot of changes to the commission itself, just so that we can have a quorum easier. Can we just change the quorum requirement without changing the number of people and all that? Just get focused on what we're trying to do.
The 7-person commission traditionally you see a quorum of 5, which is
understand.
1 over.
Half, right, I understand that. So, but I don't think there was desire to reduce the size of our little group to the point, because then it just means the work has to be done by 3 or 4 people instead of 7. So it's hard enough to get the work done. So I don't know if we want to be smaller. We just want to be able to have meetings more often.
Well,
And I'm all for changing the quorum, but without changing the size of the group.
What do you think?
Have non-voting members that assist the commission on a volunteer basis, that would be.
If I may, you make a valid point. But something else the chairman had said was that you would be commissioners of subcommittees, which would put more people into play to do more of the things without making the commission as large as it is, to make it difficult to govern, if that makes sense. I understand the intent, and I agree with what you're saying. But as he was suggesting, you have more non-voting members, so that the governing body is easier to convene, but the people that have to carry out what the governing body needs don't have to be the governing body.
So here, I'm the end of the day, I'm not excited one way or the other about all this, pretty agnostic about it, but I just want to make sure we don't have unintentional consequence. If you make the group of voting members smaller, we all struggle with calendars. And if you only have 4 to draw on to get 3, instead of 7 to draw on to get 3, the likelihood of a calendar conflict screwing you up is still as large.
So you're suggesting that we just change the number that's required for a quorum?
Yes.
Doesn't matter to me as long as we can have a meeting.
I don't know what, I'm no lawyer, but it's just, you think we have to be at half is the thing.
Oh, yeah, you have to be 1 over.
I mean, for example,
Five.
you have a 7-person body now. And if the
Seven.
commissioner voted, he would be the only one missing, and you would still have a quorum, as it stands right now. If you were missing 2 people, you would still have a quorum, as it stands right now. This is my first meeting, and it seems that you managed to hit 5 out of 6. That's-
We're good today. We're excellent today. Excellent.
We haven't been with us, it's been a problem. and
Yeah,
design
yeah, this
review,
is very
I have to
unusual.
admit, Danielle and I wrote that. What is it, code? We wrote that
5 years ago.
ordinance. And based it on, back in 2017, I guess. And we based it on design review, which is, design review board is the only new commission in the town in years. And that was right after the tornado that design review was put together. So, but they have had problems getting members. They pull people off of the street, need to put them on there to get a 5. And so design review has remade itself in the last year. And they're actually almost part of planning commission that was, and actually so is historic preservation. And if you read the Maryland law, if you read Comar, but it's, design review has had a problem with 7 and the alternate, and they have a real problem getting the quorum to get in for their meetings, which are bi-monthly, right? They still,
They're monthly.
they're still poison.
So,
So-
get me on that.
And all of the other commissions are 5 with an alternate. And the council person is one of the 5. With a quorum of 3. And I've seen planning commission meetings where you had the councilman and the chairman and one other.
So that was the whole object here, was to kind of get information with the other boards or commissions. And then too, you have people who, well, let's use Christine as an example. I don't know how interested Christine is in, say, the museum, or I don't know how interested Jane is in the museum, but I know Jane's interested in doing the help getting the bronze plaques done. And we're still working on public buildings, but we're going to be moving. I mean, we've been working, public buildings, but we're going to be moving into businesses, and we're going to be moving into private homes eventually. So that's, to me, like one whole subcommittee. And then Christine, I know you have an interest in so many aspects of the town. I'm not sure exactly.
Historic trail.
Huh?
Historic trail.
Historic trail, which we don't have. Yeah,
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 Yeah.
but we will.
yeah.
Yeah, see,
So,
and that could be another whole subcommittee.
and Bob Curran would.
And Bob Curran is a subcommittee. So that's where
you're
we're
not
kind of
saying
going with it.
subcommittees have to be composed of the members of the commission.
Yeah.
Right,
You could-
right. And these two and Bob Curran, don't live in the town. You don't live in the town limits. And so it just makes it's
It
just-
makes us broader.
It just makes it, this way, it makes it broader. We have the subcommittees and I don't know. I just,
So you've answered my hard questions. I mean, if we don't lose our little band of, we don't lose our helpers.
oh, we're not losing.
We don't lose people to
That
help.
makes more
No,
sense to me.
conceivably, you'll have more people,
Right.
because they won't have to commit to coming to a meeting.
It just
They
Yeah, that's
do
true.
stuff.
It just
They
reduces
want-
the size of the governing body.
Mhm.
Okay,
That makes more sense to me.
I'm good.
And the last thing that I found while reading through all of this, I think it's really more interesting than you get the credit for. This is to propose a long-range plan for historic preservation in the town of La Plata, including a historic district.
Okay,
Did you know a historic district has been established?
yes.
Okay.
It was established back at the time of the tornado.
Yeah.
But it's all over town. It's not like the historic, it's not like we can take this table and say, this is the historic district. There's stuff here, there's stuff here, there's stuff there, there's stuff there.
Is there a
Right.
map?
There's an old map. I've got it here somewhere.
Planning has, Janine Harrington has.
And when we talked to
Everything
Janine
represented.
about it, she was so busy working on that comprehensive plan at the time that, she just couldn't give herself to it.
I recall that was established after the tornado when they were assessing the damage and they were looking for what kind of funds might be available.
Exactly, for the homeowners to restore their
Okay.
properties and everything. So it was very quickly put together, but proved boundaries was 8. It was well, wait a minute, now this was before the tornado. So what do you know? What do you know, Craig, that I don't know?
I'll send it to you in Teams, by the way.
You sent it to me in Teams?
Didn't,
Back in the
didn't
past.
they work on that? Trying to designate, they did a survey of historic properties, I think.
Oh, yeah, we have a list of properties that would have qualified even. But you tell me what you know, because it must be, okay, here was landmark. This was a draft of landmark, Charles County Courthouse, the first jail, Christ Church, New Wells Hotel, DeAngelis Building, Old Bank of Southern Maryland, movie theater, TRFL store, Mitchell Motor Company, Bowie Lunchroom, La Plata train station, Sydney Muzz House. And it goes on, the Hermitage, the Paget Posey Row, the Home Place, Diggs's, Charles Wade House. I don't know what that is.
Proposed to be landmarks?
Yeah.
District?
I think they would
Because-
identify as properties that would be suitable
Yeah.
to be included in historic
Mhm.
recognition that they're historically important in town. And I'm wondering if maybe that list didn't result in this map that predates, or the one that you have. that
You see,
predates
this
the
map
tornado.
goes, this is kind of all over the place. It's just, wherever these
I think they
seem
were
to
just trying
be.
to do an inventory of assets, if I
Yeah.
remember this correctly.
So, where planning comes into this and how we actually come up with some firm district, I don't know. I don't know.
This is on state record. And I will send you a link to this. This is
That's what you
Well, it
have.
PH
looks like the same.
326.
Yeah, that's what you have.
That's what this is.
Right. But this is as established on state record. And this, of course, extends well up Washington Avenue to some of the historical homes before you get to, what is that, Willow? Along Kent Avenue,
Mhm.
out here around the Hermitage. And then down, regrettably, it pulls back over to Washington Avenue here, back across behind Price, across and around Price Church, and then down St. Mary's to a certain extent, well down Oak Avenue,
Mhm.
then back to just short of the hospital zone. Unfortunately, a couple of homes here don't exist anymore. Some subject to the hospital, a couple subject to a tornado.
Yeah, a bunch of them went down, subject to the hospital.
So this is the district. Within town code, there are 9 specific properties mentioned. 2 of them were victim to the tornado. One of them a colonial on Portopica Road, about 150. All of this is in town code. And the fascinating thing is that we noted that the Hermitage and LaGrange were not. However, they are national.
Mhm.
So the town doesn't have to worry about that. That goes all the way up to the Fed. So this does exist. And within this code, it calls for a commission for preservation of the district. And written into that code is the teeth that you want to protect these properties. So I thought I forwarded that to you and Patty yesterday. I guess I did not. But in municipal code, Patty knows how to get there. There is under planning and zoning, very specific outlines for a commission that protects the historic district.
I recall that was what I was told when I was asked to be part of this, that was part of our purpose.
That is not this commission.
No, but I was told it was. See, that's what I.
Oh, I see.
That's what I was looking
Oh, there's
Yeah,
a different
right.
commission for that?
Yes, that specifically applies to the
Well, who's on
district.
that commission?
There is-
It doesn't exist.
Oh,
Could this commission turn into that commission?
This commission should explore how to develop that commission.
Or become that.
I think that's
Yeah.
what. when
does
I
it need a
took-
separate one?
When I took all that stuff of yours to Janine, we were talking, we brought up the code then, yeah. Okay.
I mean, that's food for thought.
Well, and it's certainly worthwhile. Then that can be a whole nother subcommittee to get this outline and get it in print and know exactly which homes these are. I mean, that would be beneficial to us when we're working on the plaques,
The district is established and we have to identify the properties within the district that we're most concerned about.
I will try and forward to you all this document, CH 326. It is kind of exciting. It goes into great detail as to what this commission is expected to do, not this commission, but the commission that is to protect these sections of the town and what authority they have to do it. And then it goes on to have, this is a 202-page document, most of which is some great pictures that were taken 8 months before the tornado.
In general, looking at the historic, what is it, historic district preservation, I don't know, this other code commission. Looking at the powers that are outlined in there would be really relevant to your library discussion,
That's exactly what I was thinking, because it is within that district.
Dead center.
which we should probably go ahead and pack our stuff up and leave. having said all this.
I can lose this
I was
recording, but
on that page. When I saw the map, I'm like, wait a minute.
yeah, I will forward this to you. It's very interesting.
And see what Janine Harrington has. I know she's got a whole lot of this thing.
Well,
Yeah, these are the homes we identified back in 2001. And we went through, we have the date of the homes, the historic function of the homes, the architectural design. Has anybody ever seen any of this?
I know Janine has been in a historic
Here, I'll
district
just,
commission code recently because I believe she asked you about the proposed renovations to 109. Is it 109 Washington? No.
I'll just pass these
No,
around
yeah.
in two different directions.
There's a house that residents that just put in a permit request because they want to build on one of the homes that is on the list of protected homes.
I think it was 104 Oak
104
Avenue.
104 Oak. If historic wants to be that part of that kind of process, these are the teeth that they're going to want. These are what they're going to want to do. Is to weigh in. on that
Where is
process.
this?
So anytime a house on that list.
Okay, gotcha.
Is,
in for renovation.
Is there a
historic would have the
109 Oak
opportunity
Avenue
to
on
make
that?
recommendations.
That's probably sold. We don't have house numbers on it.
Recommendation. Code says approved.
No.
You'll find that in the
Patty, is there anything on that one, on Oak Avenue? Well, it sounds like this is for a discussion for an entirely different.
Yeah.
You'll get the final.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey,
We
right.
think not.
But they've obviously taken pictures of these properties and
Most of these pictures are dated just 8 months.
109 Oak Avenue. I don't know which.
Some are a little older, but it's, I believe it's 10 Avenue. But the point really is that this is the authority. You're an advisory commission, but there is another commission that exists on the books. It's not staffed. It doesn't exist, but the parameters for its existence do exist. It might not help with Washington Avenue, but it could help with many other things. I'm going to say it going forward.
Okay. Have we finished with this? The purpose of the law?
Yes. So what Kelly and I will do, what I will charge Wiley forward with is to write an ordinance that will make these changes that you want to the code.
Okay,
It's not so much as amending an old ordinance, it's writing a new one.
Okay.
We'll write a new one.
okay. Perfect. And then that'll come back to us
Absolutely.
for us to vote on it prior to it going to the town.
Recommend adoption to the council.
Right, okay, got that. Okay, can we go back to the agenda? Boy, this is the first time I've never had a paper agenda in front of me. I'm feeling a little crazy. Okay, that's not it. That's not, yeah, that is it. That's today. Okay. I think we've pretty well covered everything, haven't we? Let's
Yes,
see.
there were just a couple of.
Oh, yeah, we do have a couple of little matters here. Approved change in code, then it says Historic Preservation Commission. Let's see.
So the only thing.
Oh, yeah, my term's about up. So that's tomorrow, the 26th. So I asked Kelly, who had to,
Councilman Goldsmith will need to just confirm that. Or, I don't know, the other members might vote you off. I don't.
yeah, it's a,
You are trying
Yeah,
to
right.
reduce the size.
I mean, I'm happy to help reduce the size. I'm more than happy to be the one to reduce the size.
But for the moment, the commission still consists of 7 members.
Right, that has
Okay.
not been changed.
Okay, so,
Yeah.
So I know, and I may be speaking out of turn, but Councilman Goldsmith does not want to release people from the committee without a replacement in place or ready to step in. I'm not aware of any,
okay.
Does not.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to serve another 3-year term.
just because somebody's term expires doesn't mean they're off the commission. And then according to code, they can stay on it until their successor is appointed.
Right.
So you can just stay.
Okay.
That doesn't necessarily require a formal reappointment.
Let's not give us
Oh.
time to think about this.
Okay.
It's a good
Yeah,
idea.
Well, now we haven't elected a chair and a vice chair in 2 or 3 years, and we're supposed to do that annually. So,
We just
Who would-
elected you to.
who would like to step up to the plate and
to
be
do
chair?
another year.
Well, this is for chair and vice chair.
Mhm. I'm the chair, Stuart's the vice chair.
Contented vice
Great.
chair. I'm contented vice chair.
It
Yes.
doesn't have to be voted on as a slate.
So you want us to vote? Or what? Just,
Y'all tell
Have
us.
to make a motion.
Would anybody like to be a candidate?
I make a motion to accept to continue their tenure. Can do
I'll
it that
second
way? Okay.
Okay.
Guess it's
Everybody okay? All right,
two.
okay.
And then there's.
I,
Hi.
All in favor?
yeah. Okay, matters of interest. The Firehouse Museum building, we'll make that quick. There's money being set aside in this Rescue Act. What,
I have no idea where
Yeah.
that came from.
to the tune of about $75,000.
Ooh,
The town received a what?
Almost 10 million.
Almost $10 million to be working on, and I guess half of it's been spent. Now they're working on the other half. A lot of it's going to probably go into public works, things of that nature. But anyway, $75,000 been set aside for the Firehouse Museum building. Now, what that actually means, I do not know. I have no idea what the intentions of how that money's going to be
Kelly might.
spent.
No, I'm just laughing because now I'm in the same place. I was hoping you knew and somebody had mentioned to you why 75,000 had been thrown around.
I know, I saw that, I went.
Christine
that
has something to
open?
add to that.
With
Is
the
the-
9.4 million ARPA, 75,000 has been set aside for you. This is, as I understand it, kind of a one-time thing. This is
Yeah, it's a
federal
one-time.
funds to help offset losses during the pandemic. And it's, each municipality it was federal, right?
That was the federal.
Yeah, each municipality was looked at as to what their annual budget was, and a compensation was made to try and protect them. And so $75,000 of that money has been set aside.
Three things that come right off the top of my head. Get it up to fire code, look at an elevator and fix that floor in the Firehouse Museum, right?
Floor?
So is this an actual museum that's open?
Okay, it has been opened in the past by the firemen.
Mm-hmm.
Back, Bill Ekman years ago had the Firehouse Museum building put into a 501c3 as, where are those papers that were going around? I don't want to put them back just because I don't want everything to get out of order. I'll never find all this stuff again. And it was called the Southern Maryland Firehouse Museum Organization. Well, now Kelly can tell you that is really no longer in existence because they've never kept up with the 501c3. So right now, there's nothing happening there.
Okay.
When we have had a little function going on in the town where we might have had people at the garden and some of the firemen would come and open the door.
Mm-hmm.
The 1929 Seagrave is sitting in that building and they have some of the old apparatus and stuff in there. But other than that, nothing's happening with it.
Okay.
So, but they wanted to become an active museum. And if I understood it, it would be a museum where people could come and we would have videos, historic documentation, and all that from the 2 tornadoes.
Okay.
There's a piece that was added onto the side of the original building that is being used for storage now, I think, and that was served as the original rescue squad building.
Mhm.
And that, I think, was what we were looking at to make the tornado museum, and then the original firehouse building itself would be the Firehouse Museum. But one of the problems was the upstairs you can't use because of the fire code issue with the stairway and there's no elevator. to get
It's
to
not
it. So
ADA.
you're limited to just the downstairs, which is dominated by the bay for the fire truck. And that's, it's basically walking around the fire truck, that's all you can do.
Right.
Yeah, it'll never be a museum as long as the fire truck's in there, I guess,
If you've
because
never been in there,
Uh-huh.
we'll take you in there one day. It's
Okay.
really-
It's worth seeing.
It's worth turning into something.
So when that work is done on that, I'm almost done, I promise.
No, if there's something to do with it.
Oh. Well, when that work is done on that, how, is there like a bid process? Is a bid put out? How would one get on like a bidder's list to do that work?
Well, they'll make you the chair of the subcommittee.
Oh, no, actually, I have said, that was my next point, is that I know someone, her husband, I think, is like the chief or something at Belle Oughton, and she does photography, but she does like firefighter photography. So like she'll go on calls with them and like take pictures of them like coming out of the burning building and
oh,
stuff.
it's wonderful.
It's really cool. But I thought about her. I didn't know if you guys had someone that opened that and staffed it. If you did, if you were looking for someone, all that good stuff.
There's a whole political
Thing.
thing that isn't so much politics as it is the rivalry between the fire departments.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here.
Okay.
And really, that building needs to come back. See, it was owned by the firemen, then it was owned by the town, then it was owned by
Right.
the firemen, now it's owned by the town. And the other outlying fire departments, I don't think have a least bit of interest in what goes on in our little museum building.
And Christine,
Uh,
the 2 times I think that we've had it open, Bill Ekman wanted to have it open. And it is not, I mean, even without going upstairs.
It's not museum
It
quality
is
by
just,
any means.
it is just a, I
That's
mean, you know,
unfortunate.
well, it needs,
It needs,
Yeah.
it needs redoing. It needs what we did at the train station done there, just to open it up where the Seagraves is. And
Right.
but if,
They used to drive that out for parades. They did.
And they still do, yeah, they use it for parades. But that needs to, if that's going to become a museum, the Seagrave's got to have another home. You can't have a museum there
well,
with the
you-
Seagrave in
if
it.
we- Well, I think it becomes kind of the biggest draw, right?
Yeah, it is. That's.
So I would suggest that if we got the 75K, which is a godsend, to fix upstairs and make it accessible with ADA and all the rest of it, an elevator or whatever we need. Then we can turn the upstairs into the display area for all that stuff, be able to see the fire truck at the bottom, it'll kind of fit together.
And where
That's that whole
And where all
that's
that
whole
room
big
that's all the
place for
storage
stuff to
mess over
store.
there,
Yeah.
you
got
can
all of
see the
that.
windows outlined there. So all you've got to do is knock out those windows and open that whole thing up.
So that was
Lots
part
of
of the
opportunity.
political thing.
A
Uh-huh.
lot of-
That wall.
If we can just get the
Part of the
train
political
station
thing,
museum
right?
finished. Get the damn caboose finished.
Right.
Amazing.
But
I don't even know
mean,
anything about.
Bill was just
trains.
determined to open that up, a couple of these town activities.
So I guess when the money comes through, somebody will tell us the next step.
Okay,
In
cool.
the meantime, hopefully the
Well-
caboose will be finished, then everything is finished down here at this museum and we can start on the next
Yeah.
one. And the only issue then is going to be docents. And we're going to talk about that at another meeting, whether we're going to use some of our monies for docents to be in the building and have it open a specific every first Saturday of the month or something. We've got to come up with something definite
But is
on.
the rescue plan money based on
Train and fire.
Nobody knows.
shovel ready?
Nobody
I
knows.
bet it, because we got the pump station with shovel ready money.
Don't you worry about the pump station. He'll take care of it.
What this, how
Yeah.
do we need?
But you gotta have some shovel ready money, shovel ready, but I mean, you've gotta have some plans, ideas, you gotta have somebody, I think, to get hold of the money, and I don't know how long it's sitting there and all that stuff.
I just wrote down on my paper, how to access $75,000. That's my question.
That's good,
Mhm.
that's good.
The detail behind that was that the town itself had put out to the citizenry, how would you want to spend this money? And they got very little feedback. So this is based on what the council imagines would be a good thing.
All right.
It's not done. You can still reach out to your councilman and say, hey, I might have something I want to say about that. But
Can we take the 75 and use it to move 2 houses?
Wasn't allocated.
not as of right now. 'Cause we
Just
just
thought I'd
gotta-
put it out there.
yeah, and there's certain things you can't hire somebody for a position that's gonna go on and on and on and on. You can't use that money to hire a
For
person.
employment of another employee.
Or some.
It's,
kind
it's a
of
one-time shot. The money's not always going to be there. It's not like we're going to get
Back
this
when.
again.
We might be able to use it to develop a training program for them.
Yeah, something like that.
So that we can have materials for the docents to draw from.
Yeah. Because I think a docent, we should get a docent program going. And I think I was questioning whether students, do they still have to have so many service hours? And see, that would be an excellent thing to tie in with the schools.
Evelyn is also very much involved now. She's going through the fire and rescue. She's going through the MIFRE program. And so she's already finished Fire 1. She's taking EMT now. And you're not going to find a more motivated volunteer for anything related to fire and rescue. So if you're looking for anyone to work on a subcommittee to deal with the Firehouse, she can be at the top of your list.
Yeah.
Great.
You know, don't know how much good she'll
And
do,
it
but she'll be
could-
motivated.
And again, it could apply to her service hours. She's
It
probably
could,
finished
yeah.
service hours.
She's kind of done with the service
That's because she's,
hours.
yeah.
Huh? That's two people. 1, 2.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah.
I think
So we're
I think
already
we
racking them
gotta
up.
come up with another name for docent.
Yeah.
That's something that where some kid was asked what the meaning of docent was, and he said an old gray-haired lady.
Idea to get around the whole fireman rivalry thing, instead of making it a museum centered thing, make it centered on the La Plata Firehouse, but make it a county fireman memorial or fireman, recognition for the sacrifice of all the firemen in all the counties, all the region. And that would bring more of a unity type thing than a rivalry type thing. I think.
But we own it, right? The town owns it.
The town owns it now unless they give it back to the fire department.
Yeah. All right.
So the next meeting will be in a month?
Well, would you have that document ready in a month's time?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
With any kind of luck, I can get it to the commission prior to the meeting
Okay.
for review.
Can we find out anything about the 75,000 between now and then? And who's gonna,
Sure, yes.
Uh,
I think.
Yeah, and I
and
think we need-
is there, does somebody have something in mind? Does somebody else have a vision out there?
Yeah.
That we don't have.
For that 75,000. I'm very curious. myself,
Because
so.
then somebody can
Yeah.
develop a vision.
I think we need a meeting in a month to just organize what we're gonna do for opening.
26th? What is today? The
25th.
20, okay, a month from today, is it Friday, the 25th?
I mean, as to what we're gonna do, we need to organize moving we need to, I think we can get the cleaners who clean here to come in there one time and do a good
25th?
cleaning on the fire. I don't know what, Donnie, what are we gonna do to those floors and all that stuff? Yeah, I mean, we need to clean it up and so forth for the 28th at least. I know the caboose isn't gonna be ready, but
I don't know if they could start on that caboose. It will have moved along pretty good, probably by the end of April if they start on it in March.
It's 1:00.
Piece of wood in your shop.
Okay.
You think?
Okay, now the other thing, Stuart, I asked about getting the lights I asked the mayor.
Oh, the Christmas lights, we can
About the
deal with that
Christmas
another
lights?
time.
And she said that they went with the company, that they had a company come in and put those clear lights up and take them down. And it's the same lights that are at Raymond's, and I haven't gotten to Colleen or Michelle, but there's some company came in and did that, put the lights up, and I was like,
I believe it was a subcontractor for Smecco.
it was a subcontractor for Smecco who did that?
You need to put the town lights up, the town Christmas lights up.
Yeah, the
The lights around the
Yeah, the clear
building,
lights and
on the
everything.
columns.
Yeah,
Up here was the town of Fleta.
Yeah.
Over Charles Street. and-
Is-
oh, yeah, no, I know Smecco does that. No,
What
I'm
we're
talking about
interested
the
in,
lights
whoever
that
did
were
the
on-
columns, everything here at Town Hall, the question is about having them do the train station museum in Caboose from now on, rather than
Apparently
us
they
having to do it.
did the town hall and the police station and I think Raymond's
Okay.
and Raymond's house, that's what, but the mayor told me to ask Colleen and Michelle who it was, but they actually came in and put them up. This is what I'm saying. You know?
Take that
Yeah.
heartburn from
And-
us.
I mean, we've been putting them up ourselves, but I would like to have them all up, because you can see this side now on the railroad track. I would like to have lights there. Mary Beth wants to put, like garland
The lighted
along
garland.
the,
Lighted
with the
garland.
lights like they have at Green Turtle and all. I want to see if this. if
And
this
you know, when you
whoever
come
they
into
are, if
town,
we
there's
can rent
nothing on
this,
this
and if we-
end.
if we could
So it'd
tag
be
on
nice to have that.
Yeah.
the town's account that they have with this thing to have them decorate for us. in the-
Yeah.
That's,
Is that
that's
good?
one I love, climbing up on that caboose and putting those lights up and going back and taking them back.
Well, I know, and they look so good, and so I was asking her, and I'm like, you
It was
know,
just me this year. I didn't have to do it.
I know.
I'm old.
Trying
to change that.
I'm not getting any younger.
Well, we're trying to change that for you.
So I'll find out about that before the next meeting. I'll ask, I don't want to bug them with all,
Okay.
everything they're doing for the 28th, but I want to make sure that we can join in with them
Mhm.
next Christmas.
So while you're on the subject, most of those lights are shot.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
But that's it. We were going to
So we'll
replace
just
them
schedule
anyway.
it
So get a contractor and then do the job.
and do it, and they, you know, I thought they were neat. I
Those
thought it was.
LED lights, as soon as they get wet, they start corroding. I don't know why.
Okay.
Really?
Better, yeah,
Oh.
they corrode
Okay.
really bad. And it's not so bad during the season, but in the off season, when you store them and then you come back and take them out the next year, they just come apart. They just fall, the LED leads just fall apart. So they're not waterproof. I don't know what they're making them out of, but
Cheap.
yeah, we need better.
Close it.
Okay. Stuart, would you want to do a summation of our conversation today about the two properties on Washington Avenue and our thoughts that we would just pass them on to the town council for just to have a record of them, or are we just going to drop
I
that?
mean, would I email to you or?
Right.
You could write it up and send it to me, and then we can get it in letter form and, or whatever form we should have it in.
How do you prefer? Because I mean, you can always go before the council and address the council.
You can get on the agenda very easily. We know who puts that together.
Yeah.
Is it too late to get,
I don't know that there's any reason for us to go before the council. I mean, the horse is out of the barn, it's done. But they, I think, should know our thoughts and feelings on it and the fact that it's obviously in this historic district.
Well, and it's not an either or process either. You can submit a letter to the council and then ask to be on the agenda, and we can attach it as backup. If they have questions, they want to discuss it with you, that's the time to do it.
That's how departmental reports are done. The departmental.
Yeah, but I
reports are
mean,
done.
I don't even know what we're asking of. It's out of their hands now.
One question I have that would help me is in terms of the construction, the extension of, I guess, Talbot, which is going through the Hotchkiss house.
Yes.
Would that construction necessarily affect the Lorenz house?
Lorenz meaning Winkler, that,
Would it affect it immediately, or, in other words?
did they have to take both
priority,
structures down at one
can I-
time, at the
can I
same
move
time?
Hotchkiss right away and Lorenz later, or would they have to both be moved right away?
I would bet they're gonna say right away.
And saying it's so early in the development process, you know better than I do.
Well, yeah.
I don't even know that they've thought that through yet.
I
What would
know.
you like to see happen with the houses?
If
What-
If I could do what I want to do with them, they'd be moved to maybe further to, I guess, to the north. Kept on that same larger, all that land together being one large parcel now, they would be kept on the property, but just moved out of the way. So the library would have space, the roads would have space. And one would become possibly a county history center, and one could become a La Plata or just a county research center or offices. I mean, it's, the carousel thing also got into my head a little while ago, and now I'm kind of debating whether that's not a better idea. But it depends on the carousel group and whether they can even pull something like that off, because they're private. And so you could take the Hotchkiss house, and if you could move it to that vacant lot where one of the original row houses used to be, one of the Posey row houses used to be, and put the carousel in front. then you've got your carousel in town, you've got the office building for the carousel and it's still private and it's still, not residential. Then it's just a matter of saving the Winkler House and that. I'm a museum person, obviously I made a big deal out of trying to get the train station going and there is no county history museum that I'm aware of. There are museums in the county that are devoted to pieces of things like the Port Tobacco Courthouse Museum and the Black History Museum and our train station, our firehouse. But there really isn't an inclusive museum of Charles County. We are the county seat. Seems like it would be a good place for that type of museum to be. You could get it started by converting one or both of those houses into that museum. Get them as a place to expose people to the history, and it doesn't even have to be the place. It could be, here's a sample of what we've got. Go down to this museum if you want to see more. And it's to me, it would be a wonderful place to kind of tie the library, the research, the county history, town history, all come together right there.
So then it sounds to me like it would also be advantageous to get the Charles County Historic Society involved in that,
Possibly.
because more voices are better.
I'm all in favor of that.
And they're sponsored by the commissioners, aren't they? The county commissioners, so their voice has a say.
It sounds like a good idea. So, I wrote something very
Yes,
thumbnail to you.
I have that.
And that's,
And I pulled a little something out of it for the letter that we originally,
yes.
yeah. Um, the homes speak to the character of the town. The two original homes on Washington Avenue are typical of the style of homes chosen by the early residents of the town, those who made the town blossom. They blended Victorian charm with Southern elegance and a bit of farmhouse practicality. And then you went on to say that 206 Washington Avenue is one of the remaining Posey houses, which that doesn't mean anything to a lot of people, but there were these 6 houses and they were all built by Avery Posey.
It's one of the first subdivisions that we had.
And the 208 represents an architectural style of that era. Mhm.
So it sounds like the library is going to have a large open space. And so if you kind of move them to the.
That's it. We've
Washington
never
Avenue
even seen a
corner
plan.
space, Then
Yeah.
it might not be intrusive on anybody's plan.
I'm not sure
Where do
anyone
you
in
see
town
a
has.
plan?
I'm not sure anyone in town has. I mean, the ink is still wet.
They have one.
And why can't somebody from historic preservation or a town representative, such as our council person who happens to live on Washington Avenue, be represented at these meetings to see if there's any possibility. I'm not the right person for it because they're going to say, oh, she's just personally involved because it was her grandparents' property. And it's not like that for me. If somebody said to me, which 2 houses, you can only have one, which one would it be? I would go with the Hotchkiss house because it was a Posey row house. So it has more history. It's actually older than the home place. I'm not sure when that house was built, but those houses were built, I'm pretty sure prior to 22 or 23 when my grandfather purchased the property and came.
They've got to build the road or at least break through the road for the road.
They
to
haven't
get the
even sent
Equipment
out
back to where the
plans
library is
and
gonna go on the back of the
So,
property.
because
They've got to get through, go through the wires and
So,
everything, yeah.
But I've looked
So,
everywhere and it's
I
not
don't know.
there yet.
Listen, do we have something, have they asked for the April, for the town notes? Do we have anything in the town notes?
No, we didn't, I was going to
Literally
ask
sent
Stuart
email
to write
today.
something for the
You sent
town
it
notes.
today.
And I just
Literally
didn't,
sent email today.
I just
Okay,
didn't,
so
well, they want,
And
yeah,
the
they
deadline
want,
is-
I don't know, do
The
we have
date-
anything
the
we
deadline
want
is
to put in?
the
the
deadline is next week, Mary Beth, next Thursday.
And I mean, I just didn't have anything pertinent to put in there. I couldn't think of anything that, one time we wrote on the old home Argyle. One time I wrote an article on the Posey
Yeah,
Road
but
houses.
this needs to be the tornado, the 20th anniversary of the tornado.
Well, yeah, but I figure every council person's going to be writing on that in the town notes, so I didn't pick that. be right on that.
Maybe read about the old library since we're getting a new library.
Oh, gee, I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, the history of the libraries would be good. Our library started out in the first jail.
The jail, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I still remember going to that.
Mhm.
Well, I just think with this,
Would you want to
the
put
April
anything?
28th.
Or you just don't have the time to
celebration,
think about it?
I think the whole edition is gonna be about celebrating the Play Date.
How Celebrate the Flight started was because of.
Yeah, why
And if
it
we can't
started,
get it
and
into this
why
one,
we're not
which is
celebrating
this
the
week, we could
tornado,
get it-
we're celebrating the comeback of the town
Where
and
are
all
we?
that
Oh, the
stuff.
one, the one's getting
Is
ready to come
anybody,
out.
I don't know. I'm probably Colleen and Michelle have that worked out.
We've already had the January one. There's a week to get something ready for the, well, think about it. I mean, that would be a good idea. Because we've had 3 different libraries. It's
Well, I just
the
think
jail, the courthouse, and then where it
we got,
presently
we
is.
got
and
a
now
year to
on the move again.
worry about the
Mhm.
library. I was just thinking about the
Rich, do you have anything to add to anything?
Not this, no.
Okay.
I'm not shy. If I have something, you'll know.
Okay. Okay, well, then we'll meet in a month and we'll summarize what took place today, which is a great meeting. I mean, I know it's much longer than you had anticipated.
Because you haven't met in a long time.
When you
But
invite
we haven't
Bobby
met forever.
Stahl to anything, you're gonna be forever, but
It was good information.
Will there be a motion to adjourn?
Yes, who would like to make a motion that we adjourn the meeting? Thank God you're here to keep us straight.
Still moved.
Second? How about a second for me?
Oh, a second, yeah.
Thank you, Jane.
okay.
So,
Aye.
we're happy. Well, thank you all. I think, just getting together like this rather than, and thank you, Kelly, because I didn't even know that we could get together. And Kelly was the
Christine.
one that said,
Mhm.
well, put it
I
together
think
and see
you-
if you can
Right back
get
that's where
Bobby
there's
Stahl.
hidden keys into that Firehouse Museum.
Okay.
Is the key
Oh, we can
still
go
there?
down and look at it right now if you want
Look at
to.
the clerk's.
Oh, you want it?
I told, I